I hope the Year of the Villain is an enormous success. I truly want the industry to be healthy and growing, but not everything is created for me, and I'm perfectly okay with that. Today I'm going to give my rundown of October's DC Comics solicitations with a few of my opinions. But first I want to share my feelings about the Year of the Villain acetate cover reveals for November. Acetate covers are standard covers with an extra translucent plastic cover atop. Both feature detailed artwork. The plastic cover is designed to obscure some of the art of the cover beneath, allowing for interesting reveals when the plastic is pulled away. I want to preface this by saying I have no issues with Scott Snyder personally. I think he's one of the better writers in the industry and one of the good guys to boot. But I had little interest in Snyder's Year of the Villain going into the event. After seeing November's covers, specifically Hawkman 18, I have less than no interest. As many of you know, I'm highly biased. Hawkman is far and away my favorite ongoing series at DC Comics. I understand there are plenty of DC readers excited for the event, and that's great. The comic book industry needs events and series that generate enthusiasm. But it's not my cup of tea. I was personally hoping my favorite series would be spared inclusion in Year of the Villain. Not only is Hawkman a major player in the event, it's revealed he's one of the Secret Six infected by Batman Who Law's pathogen. Hawkman is one of the few virtuous characters left in the DC universe. Under Venditti's direction, the character travels space and time in search of atonement for sins of his past. With his trademark wings, Hawkman is an extremely powerful symbol of redemption in the DC universe, making the cover reveals even more disappointing for me personally. I read Hawkman with my 4-year-old son. I can't show him this book. 1, it would scare the hell out of him. And 2, I don't want my boy seeing this kind of iconography associated with characters we admire. Am I supposed to stop buying the series during Year of the Villain? I don't like holes in my comic runs. Do I need to buy a lockbox for books with Year of the Villain content I never signed up for in the first place? Because I'm sure as hell not spending 1 red cent on the variant cover with art by Richard Pace. One of the 2 or 3 biggest douchebags in the entire comic book industry. The second character revealed to be infected is Supergirl. The Batman Who Laws is also hovering over her on the cover, but in a much more passive way. And yes, she looks a bit on the evil side in one of the images, but nothing close to the repugnant imagery associated with Hawkman. The big reveal in the Wonder Woman acetate cover is she's bound by her own lasso of truth. Lobo is a pretty dark character. He's not a demon exactly, but he's got some demon-like characteristics. He's sitting on top of a rock throne while Daughter Crush stands over the rest of the Teen Titans. Batman's one of the darkest heroes at DC Comics. Nothing nearly as disturbing displayed on that cover either. What makes Hawkman so special? Is it because he's one of the few virtuous, competent male characters left at DC? I honestly don't believe for a second DC or any publisher would do this to Hawkgirl or any female character in today's industry. No matter the reason, I have decisions to make regarding continued support of Hawkman and other ongoing DC series I read moving forward. Sorry that took so long, but now that I've got that off my chest, let's have a look-see at the highlights from October's DC solicitations. DC is releasing a total of 20 Batman-led and related comic books in October, not counting those led by Joker, Harley, or vintage reprints. Besides Batman, Detective Comics, and Batman the Outsiders, The Dark Knight has offerings from illustrious creators like Warren Ellis, Bryan Hitch, Michael Bendis, Kurt Busiek, Neal Adams, and Scott Snyder. Batman 80 and 81 are both being illustrated by industry legends John Romita Jr. and Klaus Janson. Both October Detective Comics issues graphics are courtesy of Doug Mahnke. DC Comics releases Batman Annual Number 4, featuring art from industry ace Lee Weeks, as well as Batman the Outsiders Annual Number 1. There are a host of Batman-related miniseries in October. Sean Gordon Murphy's second foray into his Murphyverse continues with Batman Curse of the White Knight Number 4. James Tynion IV and Freddie Williams II's final entry in the Batman TMNT trilogy completes with issue number 6. Batman-adjacent title highlights include Cecil Castellucci, fresh off her Female Furies debacle, helming Batgirl number 40. Preview material indicates Batgirl will be facing off with Oracle. How is that possible, you ask? You'll have to read the book, cause I ain't. Dan Jurgens Nightwing still features Ric Grayson. You have to wonder how long DC keeps this up before admitting they made a huge mistake. He's also releasing Nightwing Annual number 2. Readers of all things Batman have a full plate the month of October. Plenty of industry legends provide new content outside the pages of DC's ongoing Batman-related titles. Fans of The Dark Knight and related characters also have 3 annual issues to look forward to in October 2019. And I haven't even mentioned Harley Quinn or Joker yet. DC Comics' most dysfunctional couple headlined 7 comic books in October. Harley Quinn gets the most love, headlining 4 titles, to Joker's 2, while they share top billing on another. Warner Brothers' Joker film debuts in early October, and a Harley Quinn-led Birds of Prey movie follows in February 2020. Brian Azzarello's new Birds of Prey series debuts with Harley front and center. I'll be surprised if Azzarello gets the go-ahead to do much interesting with the title, with the film release right around the corner. Quinn is also featured in team-up miniseries Harley and Poison Ivy from Jody Houser. Hollywood legend John Carpenter describes Joker You're the Villain number 1, which has the potential to be a lot of fun. Joker and Harley are featured in 3 DC Black Label books. I've been waiting to see what prices DC Black Label will charge now that it's a watered-down brand. Joker Harley Criminal Sanity from YA author Cami Garcia is $6 a pop for the 9-issue miniseries. That's right, DC Comics expects readers to pay $45 for a full Cami Garcia story. Yeah, okay, that'll happen. Stephen Steijak's Harleen is releasing in the original Black Label format 3 64-page issues at a steep $8 cover price. Jeff Lemire's Joker Killer Smile debuts in October. DC is charging $6 for a mere 32 pages of content. Damn. More info on DC Black Label in a few moments. Superman and Friends have been on life support since Brian Michael Bendis took the reins to DC's iconic superhero. That trend looks to continue with 8 new Superman-related comics in October. Since Bendis took over Superman and Action Comics, they featured an excellent roster of artistic talent like new Marvel acquisition Patrick Gleason, Ivan Reis, Brandon Peterson, and Steve Epting. That trend seems to be changing a bit. David LaFuente and Simon Kodransky are Bendis' artistic collaborators in October. DC Rebirth fan favorite Super Sons team up once again in Superman 16. I think this is likely to backfire on DC. Bendis aged up John for no reason, and many readers still haven't forgiven DC for ruining a fan favorite series. Reminding customers how badly Bendis screwed the pooch with John this soon is bad planning on their part. Greg Rucka's Lois Lane and Matt Fraction's Jimmy Olsen series still appear to be garbage comics. Steve Lieber's cover art on Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen number 4 looks remarkably poor for the comic publishing giant. Believe it or not, DC has 3 covers even more embarrassing that I'll highlight later. The pain continues for Superman fans in October 2019. DC Black Label's new direction is in full effect in October. 6 series are releasing under the imprint, including the previously mentioned Harley Quinn and Joker books. Also on the docket is the 3rd and final chapter of Frank Miller's Superman Year 1. The first of Joe Hill's Hill House Comics horror titles under the Black Label banner, Basketful of Heads, is releasing with an industry-standard $4 cover price. Fantasy series The Last God appears to be the first ongoing Black Label series and holds a $5 price tag. If editor Andy Corey is associated with any of these books, I won't even consider buying them. 3 events are ongoing in October. You're the Villain is a DC-wide initiative led by Joshua Williamson's Batman Superman number 3. The solicitation and cover hint Superman may be the newest member of the Secret Six, all but guaranteeing the Man of Steel is not infected by the Batman Who Law's pathogen. Penultimate issue 5s are released for Tom Taylor's Deceased and Bendis' Event Leviathan. Deceased is a breakout hit for DC Comics, while initial sales for Event Leviathan are very soft. I'm not a fan of either, but I must admit the Deceased movie poster variant cover from Francesco Mattina is the coolest previewed for the month, bar none. There are several special titles of note. The 2nd and final issue of Bendis' Legion of Superheroes relaunch is available. In hindsight, DC probably should have chosen a subtitle not as easily mistaken for the word millennial. John Constantine Hellblazer joins Neil Gaiman's Sandman universe. DC is releasing a Halloween-themed anthology, Secrets of Sinister House. The creative team includes Paul Dini, Brian Hill, Raphael Albuquerque, and Jorge Fornes. Definitely one to consider reading. The first 2 Tales from the Dark Multiverse titles release in October. First up is Batman Nightfall from superstar Scott Snyder. The story takes place 30 years after Bane broke Batman for good and may include Bane's son. Next up is Brad Walker's Death of Superman, which focuses on Lois Lane Eradicator seeking revenge following the death of the Man of Steel. The final special series of note is Flash Forward number 2. Scott Lobdell and Brett Booth team up to tell the first Wally West story following his turn as mass murderer and all-around villain in Heroes of Crisis. DC has its hands full trying to make that right with customers. There are a handful of DC comics I'm very excited for in October 2019. The finale of Batman TMNT 3 is can't miss in my book. The IDW DC crossover is reinvigorated by the new direction of Crisis in a Half Shell. Robert Venditti's Freedom Fighters is one of the best books in the industry nobody talks about. The tale of a ragtag team of patriotic heroes fighting to save America from Nazi occupation on Earth X is better than anyone could have anticipated. Issue number 10 of 12 releases in October. DC is publishing a facsimile edition of Denny O'Neil's classic Batman 251, Joker's Five-Way Revenge. DC is also rolling out their own version of True Believers. The October DC Dollar Comics offerings are incredible. Batman 497 is the pivotal chapter in Nightfall featuring Bane breaking the Dark Knight. Joker number 1 is another Denny O'Neil classic. Dan Jurgens' Superman 75 is the climactic chapter in the Death of Superman story arc. Len Wein's Swamp Thing number 1 is the birth of one of DC Comics' most unique heroes. The final Dollar Comics is Alan Moore's Watchmen number 1, the first issue of what many consider the best comic story ever. Watchmen also started the deconstructed hero fad plaguing DC Comics under Dan Didio and company. Couldn't be more excited for DC's answer to True Believers. Before I sign off, I have to show you 3 humiliating DC covers. I'm not sure why DC is releasing a story about the KKK attacking a Chinese family in Metropolis in the 40s. Even more perplexing is the $8 cover price on issue 1 of the 3-part miniseries. A comic book with a dumb premise and ridiculous fee deserves a stupid cover to match. Get your act together, DC. Nick Pitara's Doom Patrol cover takes the cake for worst of the month and possibly the year, although a near equally uninspiring cover for Collapser gives him a run for his money. DC Comics is looking more and more like Marvel Comics by the month. That wraps up October's DC Comics solicitations. This video was produced over 2 days, and upon further reflection, I'm going to go ahead and drop all my ongoing DC comics. I don't like being opted into an event I have no interest in. I know plenty of people are excited by DC's newest game-changing event. I'm personally not one of them. I also don't like holes in my collections, so I have no plans on picking up Hawkman, Teen Titans, Detective Comics, or any of my favorite DC ongoing series after the event ends. I'll still be reviewing Batman, Superman, and Action Comics for the channel, but that's it. I won't need to drop the miniseries I read, as they aren't involved in the Year of the Villain. If you're personally excited for Year of the Villain, that's great. I wish I felt the same way. I hope the Year of the Villain is an enormous success. I truly want the industry to be healthy and growing, but not everything is created for me, and I'm perfectly okay with that. If you want to let me know your thoughts regarding DC Comics' Year of the Villain, leave them in the comments section. I'm going on a weekend trip with the family Thursday morning. I'm going to try to get my review of Powers of 10 number 1 published on Wednesday before I head out. If not, look for it on Sunday, as well as a review of Batman Last Night on Earth number 2. In the meantime, I'm going to have a series of mini reviews called The New Classics, featuring my personal favorite comic issues of the past 5 years. First up should be Chip Zdarsky's Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man 310, which I believe is the very best comic issue in that time. Thank you very much for joining me, and keep an eye out for new content on the channel daily. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.